Next presentation is going to be given by a group of Professor Laurie Giles. A group of students from Professor Laurie Giles is about the Body Bags Advocacy Project. Very interesting project.
Small groups that would meet on occasion as well as in class. The different groups were research, internal marketing, external marketing, logistics, and external corporate business. So each of us up here, all were representing a different group. My name's Sandra. I was representing research.
Okay. My name's Elise, and I'm representing external marketing.
My name's Yahalil Carter, and I'm representing external corporations.
My name is Doug English, and I'm representing logistics.
My name is Kara McMahon, and I'm representing internal relations.
So we represent the advocacy class. There's about 30 people in the class, all with varying majors. When we walked in on the first day of class, we were kind of all expecting to be stuck in another 3-hour-long, boring lecture. And we honestly never could have imagined the kind of change that Professor Giles inspired us to create. She opened the class with a documentary that stated 50%. 50%, that's half of all of the kids in America were going to experience hunger at least once in their life. And that's not hunger like, oh, let me get a snack. That is, you feel the pain in your stomach because you haven't eaten in over 24 hours. That's not something that's just light. So in learning that, we all kind of were inspired to then create this project in order to help end this child hunger that we see. So who are we? Kind of just answer the question. We are the different people representing the groups. Our project focuses mainly on Snug Harbor Elementary. Well, why Snug Harbor? It's actually only 3 miles away from E&C. And another reason why we focused is that 100% of its 330 student population, now these are elementary kids, they're young, but they're all in free and reduced breakfast and lunch, which statistically speaking means they go home and they don't have anything to eat. How as a parent can you tell your child, no, you can't have a snack because we can't afford to do that? And that really hit home for a lot of us because that's not something that we've experienced in our everyday life. Another reason that we picked Snug Harbor is because it's in a food desert, which means all of the fresh fruits and vegetables that we find in the store, they don't have access to. We take it for granted, but one of the kids showed us veggie straws, which are good, but they're loaded in sodium and fat. And he was like, look, I have vegetables for lunch. They don't quite understand that, no, these aren't vegetables, they're chips. And also, there are a few kids in our class, or students in our class, who were from the Germantown area, which just fueled the fire even more. Well, we're helping where these students grew up, and that's incredible, which is why we're also passionate about the issue. So going in, we had a mission statement, and our purpose was to help stop childhood hunger at Snug Harbor Elementary. We argued and we fought class after class after class, and finally we settled on the Buddy Bags program, which we will explain later on in the presentation what exactly that is. And our purpose for the project was to create a sustainable program that will be able to be carried on whether it's through E&C or Snug Harbor or even future advocacy classes.
So as previously stated, my name is Kara McMahon. I am representing the Internal Relations and Marketing Group. And so our mission statement was just to advertise to the student body and to host different events on campus to fundraise and raise awareness for our Buddy Bags project. And so the way that we did this was through several different events and just by talking to our friends and advertising. So the first event we held was the Buddy Bags movie night. And so as we talked about before, the first thing that we did as a class was we watched this documentary called A Place at the Table. And that instilled such a huge reaction and sparked such a passion for this issue that we thought we would try to share that with the student body. And so we held an event right here in the RCA, and people came, received chapel credit and extra credit for their classes. We sold popcorn and accepted donations. And that was a huge success. We really reached a lot of people in the student body that way. Another thing that we have done is those posters that you see hanging around, the blue ones with the logo that we created. We put those everywhere in the dorm buildings, in the student center, in all the academic buildings, just so people were constantly seeing that and subconsciously being reminded wherever they went of this project and what we were trying to do. We also tried to reach out to the local community as well by having local students take flyers to their churches and reaching out through that way so that we were getting other people involved as well. We also held an informational booth at the Bible Women's Project where we set up a table with a sample buddy bag and talked to people about the project and also accepted donations there. We also created a Facebook and GoFundMe page, and we also have a Twitter account just to, again, raise awareness on social media and also to pull in donations that way. And we were able to have an article in the school newspaper. So working in the internal relations group, my initial reaction when I was assigned to that group was disappointment, just because I am somebody who's very much a hands-on person, and for me, kind of taking a step back and having to be isolated on campus in terms of what I was doing for the project was difficult for me. I wasn't going to be able to reach out and to actually physically help a student somehow. I was more staying on campus and just talking about it, and for me that was really hard. But as this project moved forward and as I was able to speak to people at the informational booth or during the movie night, I realized that while I may not be out there helping people, helping these children, by instilling a reaction in somebody else and kind of sharing my passion for it, I was like lighting the torch and moving that forward so that these students would feel something towards this project and maybe even donate or try to get on board if they could. So that was the goal of the internal marketing group.
So again, I'm responsible for leading the external marketing group, and this is our mission statement. And our mission statement was to really advertise this Buddy Bags program to the community in the Snug Harbor area so that these parents and these families would know what's going on and that this program is available to help their children. So before I go any further, I'd like to explain what the bag is. So what the bag is we're going to fill it with food, and each of the kids are going to get a bag. And we wanted initially for it to be Hands Against Hunger, but now that we've had a meeting with one of the nurses at the school and also with one of the guidance counselors, we realized that it would be really more effective for the community to have it be health-centered. So it still helps target childhood hunger, and that's what the whole project is focused on. However, he has some struggles with the logo, and so I'm going to talk about that next, about how that change of kind of concept affected the logo and my role in external marketing. So this is the logo that my group was responsible for creating, and our job in external, a lot of it was to advertise. So what we did in order to come up with this logo is we took a lot of inspiration that we found on the internet. We gathered information on colors for hunger, which turned out to be orange for childhood hunger. We gathered design schemes for advertisements that we thought were really interesting, and we made an actual poster board with all of our favorite ideas, color schemes, organizational concepts. And we took our favorites from all of those, from the kind of the rough draft board, and we created the logo that way by pulling together all of our inspiration that we found from all of the research that we did on logos and stuff to create this logo. And so again, orange is the color for childhood hunger, so that's why it's an orange themed watercolor in the background. We chose watercolors because kids love watercolors, and this is a child focused project. It's really going to help the families, but first and foremost, we want to just make sure that the kids are happy and that it's really focused on a fun thing for the kids. So that's also why the font, we created it to be fun, so that the kids will get excited about seeing it. Also, we were responsible for the children's flyer that is going to be going in the buddy bags. And so on this flyer, we have coloring pages, we have mazes, we have a word search for the kids so that when they get their bag, they can be really excited about, oh, this is what a healthy snack looks like, and oh, this is exciting to get and to receive. And we wanted to make it really special for the kids. So we also were responsible for contacting local newspapers, and the Patriot Ledger actually wrote an article on our class, and they came to the class and they took a picture of our class and the poster, the external design for the project and the logo and everything. So that was really great. So this is a picture of the poster that the external marketing group created that was all around campus. And what we did for, the reason why the handprint is up there beside the logo is because childhood hunger and hunger in general is a world issue. It is not just a small local issue. So we took the concept of world hunger with a map. It's a little small, but there's a map on the center of the hand because we wanted to make sure that everyone knew that this is not just a small issue. This is a huge overall global issue, but we're just taking it and making it into buddy bags to directly affect the local issue of childhood hunger that is happening in a community that is really close to us. So funding. External marketing was also responsible for quite a bit of funding. So what we did was for the external corporate relations group, which is Carter's group, we wrote a pitch, and that is what he used to give to local businesses. So we wrote the pitch for him. Also, we were able to go around to some local businesses and talk to some local business owners about helping and supporting this project. Also, we sponsored, we created the Dinner and Dessert with Your Buddies fundraiser, which I know a lot of you probably saw on the orange posters that were up. And this fundraiser was actually incredibly successful. About 140 students from ENC went to this fundraiser, and we raised over $270. And what happened was that Chipotle donated 50% of the profit from that night for whoever came and said, we're here for the Buddy Bags fundraiser, to our project. And the same thing with Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's donated 25% of whatever was bought under the desire to donate to Buddy Bags. They donated 25% of the profit from those people who decided to say that they were there for the fundraiser. We were also responsible for creating some church informational packets. I know Internal mentioned really quick that we went home on spring break and we presented in front of churches. So the informational packets just made sure everyone knew some of the facts so that we could really clearly describe what is the demographic that we are trying to help to the churches.
All right, so probably you guys' next question is, how do you pay for this? Well, that's part of our job, external corporations. Now, as me and 6 other members, and this is a group that started with $0, and so we have to sit in class every day and we have to figure out how do we raise money to be able to pay for the Buddy Bags. And so part of our job is to contact many of the local businesses, corporate businesses, and also private businesses in the area. And so by starting with the local businesses, we started by all of the diners and also all the home churches for donations and plenty of things like that. So everybody in the group was actually going back home. Everybody's main idea was to fundraise. So even though we have logistics, we have internal research, everybody was trying to fundraise and come up with ideas on how we can raise money to provide many of these snacks for this small elementary school.
I'm Doug, and I'm part of the leader of the logistics group. And our responsibility is to get the goods from the point of origin to the point of consumption. And by doing this, we have to go out and buy the food. Then we must package it, load it into the vans. Then we must deliver it to the school. Next slide. In order to purchase the food, we had to set a budget. Originally, our budget was around $2,700. That was the estimated value. And for certain roadblocks that come across any project, we had to accommodate for what we actually raised in forms of estimated budget. Now, as of now, we've been raised up to $1,200, and it's still counting because some funds to us have not been released personally. So what we did was we wanted to decide how to put the food in certain areas. So we bought the bags first. Now that took a big chunk out of our budget that we didn't expect. That was around $670 out of the $1,000 we had for that certain period of time. So then we did some more fundraising, and we got the bags to lower it around $570. So then we had around $500 for food itself. So from then on, we went out and we decided what to put in the bags: oranges, apples, fruit snacks, popcorn, all that stuff, so we can accommodate to get the kids food at the same time we can make our budget. So, after we bought the food, we're now going to go package the food. Now we have the certain packing date was supposed to be 2 weeks.
It's not fun. It's not easy. And so we basically had $5 of food in every bag. And trying to find that was hard. So we had to be realistic about the foods we were going to be putting in, which ended up we settled on putting 2 different kinds of fruits. So we'll do apples and oranges. We're going to do a water. And then there is a popcorn brand. It's called Pirate's Booty. It's organic and very healthy. And we had to include that because as a kid, who would want to get a bag of just fruits and water? I know I wouldn't have. We had a few goals along with it, but the biggest 2 were to budget the food and then to figure out what was going into these bags. And once we overcame that, it was very smooth in going into figuring out the rest of the project, at least for the research team. You go to the next slide. So what we actually did, we looked up statistics that pertained specifically to childhood hunger and then childhood hunger in the South Shore area. It's kind of depressing to actually see. 3 out of 8 families in the South Shore area experience hunger at home. And then 43% of Massachusetts residents are in a food desert. So just seeing how close food deserts and hunger were to ENC and to me, I grew up in Massachusetts, it was kind of hard to actually sit there and take in all of the statistics I was reading. We had to figure out food. Of course, you can't just deliver an empty bag. So we had to figure out what kind of nutritional items, and then on top of that, the fun things that were going into the bag. Yeah. So we had to also look up regulations for outside organizations to operate inside of a school and regulations for distributing food inside of a school setting as well. So you can't just kind of randomly go into a school and say, hey, we have food for you kids, come take it. That's stranger danger. So we had to know all of the rules going into the school before we actually did that. So next slide. These are all of the things that the research team helped out with. Like Doug's group, we were kind of in the background. We were a part of the backbone. We didn't really do anything that was out front. But you also can't have a project without the research team. Go to the next slide. Looking forward, we've talked a lot about sustainability with this project. And after our initial introduction at the health fair on April 30th, we have it in our plan to keep the project going, and there are many ways to help out. As you have heard, we have had our struggles, including with the presentation. So the struggles are never going to go away. And we've also had our successes, but we still need your help. If you're interested in learning more about the Buddy Bags, we have a Facebook page, and through the Facebook page we also have a GoFundMe. We have a Twitter too. It's at BuddyBags_ENC, so follow us on Twitter to see all the amazing things that we're going to be doing. There's really only one way to keep this going, and that's if we come together with the intention of keeping it going. So, you tell me, what are you going to do to help us? Thanks. Show up, or that we're really trying to make sure that all of the kids have bags. So the amount at this school is 330, but we're going to be filling 350.
Dr. Please.
I would highly encourage you to reconsider the bottle of water because of 2 factors. 1, the plastic and impact upon the environment from that. And 2, there's heavy socioeconomic impacts from bottled water, especially on the floor. And so I guess you might not want to be supporting that industry.
Okay.
All right, thank you.